Welcome to day 10. We have been exploring the feeling of ease and the feeling of form. We're also approaching the feeling of beauty. Today, with the feeling of ease and acknowledging the feeling of form, look to find beauty in everything you observe. Whether it's a fellow human being, whether it's a flower or a butterfly, and also look to find beauty in things that you wouldn't, upon first gaze, consider beautiful. With the feeling of ease, understanding the feeling of form, however you understand it right now, look to find beauty in the straight lines, curvy lines, in the combination of those, in your fellow human beings, in objects, in nature. Look to see and relate to everything and everyone with the feeling of beauty. And beauty is a lot more than just what the eyes can see. If we think of when we call a moment beautiful, it would be like a sports event. Oh, that game was beautiful. Or birth of a child was beautiful. We can call food beautiful. So the feeling of beauty, it could also link to this sensation in us. And the feeling of ease and the feeling of form, and appreciating those together create the feeling of beauty. So this would be the exercise for today, for day 10. Do this exercise first, and you can do it throughout the day, or you can do it for 5 minutes, 20 minutes. I suggest that at least a couple of times during the day you see the world through the eyes of beauty and relate to everything, anything and everything in that moment with beauty, whatever that means to you. All fine pieces of art have the feeling of ease, the feeling of form, the feeling of beauty, and the feeling of the whole, the entirety. And then I'm adding little clip Q&A from the class. Everything relates to everything in the Chekhov work, and this relates to the exercise of relating to everything with beauty, at least in the sense that when we learn our power, that how we relate to the world and how we decide to perceive how the world is relating to us, when we learn to harness our energy and choose the quality of it, it's not only helpful in acting and in character work. It can be, if you want it to be, also very helpful in life. And what is acting but life? Sundays. So with expansion, it's the same idea as energy cannot be created nor destroyed. So it's there, but moves in different directions. Yes. And it's also related that we can learn to harness energy. And we can contain energy. We can have, so it's not just that we have energy and ability to harness and do whatever we want with it. We can also pick a quality of that energy. So basically all human interaction and interactions between characters are, I'm either moving towards you or away from you. I'm either coming towards you with a very gentle, careful energy or very violent. So, or any kind of quality of energy. So now we're going a little bit everywhere because I'm getting inspired about your questions. But the reason right now that we're doing expansions is multi-layered. But one of them is that I'm introducing this idea that we have life force and energy. And as actors, we can learn to harness it and have it be any quality we want. It can be gentle or it can be violent. It can be slow, it can be fast. And that we can harness it and do whatever we want with it. Because if we think about character work, well, let me backpedal. For the reasons why right now would be important to learn to how you can change your energy is because it will make the days easier in our living rooms. Become aware of the kind of energy we are putting out in the world, becoming aware of what kind of energy we are creating in our homes. We all have that ability and power. And I think right now it's really important to be aware of it. If you want to be aware of it, anyone in the room can change the energy in that room, which in the Chekhov technique then comes something we call atmosphere. So the kind of energy that I am accumulating or like harnessing within myself, and what you're doing is very powerful. And the more aware of our ability to choose what kind of energy we are carrying with us, or bringing into the space with us, it's of course directly linked to acting, but it's also very much linked into interactions in the world. So whether you're doing the Chekhov technique in order to have a richer, more fulfilling, kinder interaction with yourself and with the world, or because you want to be able to step into a character who perhaps has very different energy than that. That's why we're learning these things right now. Let me just see. Are you thoughtless when you practice this? I am not sure what thoughtless means. I think we always have thoughts. The thoughts can be more like that the body thinks, or they can be intellectual, more academic kind of thoughts. Or they can be thoughts coming sort of from the body and from the heart or from the will center. I would say that brain is such an amazing thing. I don't think we ever are thoughtless, but we can suggest and ask our intellect to be at service of our art. So I think we can learn to choose which center we want to be thinking from. I don't know if that, but I wouldn't say thoughtless. If you're talking about being on impulse, then perhaps. If you're talking about being on an impulse of your will or being an impulse of your heart, then if thoughtless means that, then I don't teach should. You can do whatever you want with it, as long as it's inspiring, helpful, makes your character, your experience of your character's truth more specific, go with it. And in my own thought, I think it's impossible to consciously not think at all. Then you're thinking about not thinking. Mm-hmm. Allowing thoughts. The intellect is a great servant of, but not the great master always. Do you imagine the energy being sent to the various places and about the strength of the force sending the energy? The more specific we do anything in the work, and specificity can mean a specificity of an image, but sometimes images are not clear and specific. So specificity could be a specificity of movement, a specificity of direction, and the specificity of the quality of the movement. So specificity is also, if I send my energy pinpointedly to that spot in the wall, my relation, the space between us, the relationship is more specific. Perhaps I would say that it might be helpful to make these choices. But I'm going to backpedal just for a second. When we start the practice, it might be the most helpful thing to pay attention to 4 creative brothers of the Chekhov technique, which would be the feeling of ease, because without ease, things get difficult. And it is in the times that when times are difficult, the feeling of ease is even more important. Feeling of form would be the next thing that I'd advise us to be thinking about, because form, your physical form and your energetic form, can be either helpful or unhelpful to the work and the experience you're wishing to gain in your energy field and in your body. So let's say if I'm wanting to expand and my hands are like this, if I've practiced a lot, I could still energetically expand. But if I want to make it easy for myself, having my fingers be straight might be helpful. How can we bring elements of what we have worked on today to a character for self-death audition, for example? One thing that I would say about anything that we practice is that the more that we practice it daily, it becomes a second nature. So that the more I practice my energetic and physical body being in harmony, of my ability to harness energy, choose my atmosphere, choose my direction and my specificity to work with images, any part of the Chekhov technique, the more I practice it, the more it will be, able to apply. But if I would say to a self-tape, you could just say, okay, you do everything like you already have prepared. And then very often, let's just add feeling of ease to it. How would it be like if you didn't force anything? You've prepared, you do all the acting things you already know, and then you just add a feeling of ease to it.
The wonderful thing about Michael Chekhov technique is that when I exercise one part of the technique, if you look at the inspired acting chart, when I exercise one part of the technique, be it atmosphere or psychological gesture or qualities of movement, any and all of them are gateways, windows, doors, openings to inspiration. Any part of the technique, when it awakens in me, it also opens up all the other parts. So it's like a Christmas tree, like those lights that when one lights up, all of a sudden, all of them are energized and lighted up. I'm not sure if that was English. Let me know how you understood it.